Jack Lew was held earlier today by the Senate Finance Committee, and quite a few reports suggest that Mr. Lew breezed through it. Well, considering the aggressive economic agenda outlined last night, Mr. Lew is likely to play a critical role as both spokesman and negotiator for the president's economic vision. So what should Americans expect from Mr. Lew? Joining me for tonight's Q&A is a senior fellow at the Cato Institute and a contributor Forbes economist Dan Mitchell. Dan, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, Amy.
So in today's hearings, there are a couple of flashpoints with Mr. Lew's background in finance, both at Citigroup and also having to do with the Cayman Islands. I want to focus in on the Cayman Islands very quickly. Apparently, Mr. Lew invested $56,000 in a Citigroup venture fund registered there in the very same building that candidate Obama called the largest tax scam in the world. Mr. Obama mentioned it repeatedly in 2008 on the campaign trail. Senate Finance Committee Chair Max Baucus held hearings about it. And lo and behold, we find out that the Treasury Secretary nominee himself invested in the same building. The answers that Mr. Lew gave today, were they credible, and will they be enough to derail his nomination?
Well, the answers were credible for the same reason that Mitt Romney's answers were credible during the 2012 campaign. There's nothing illegal, there's nothing odd or unusual about well-to-do people investing in funds that are domiciled in jurisdictions with good tax law and honest government. And that describes the Cayman Islands. And there's nothing unusual about a single building having 18,000 companies in it. There's a building in Delaware with 221,000 companies in it. So if anything, I hope that the Lew hearings will put an end to this silly anti-tax haven demagoguery, although Republicans, obviously, they're still smarting over the election, and they definitely, I'm sure, enjoyed having a chance to grill a Democrat about investing in a tax haven.
Sure, certainly savoring the hypocrisy of that conflict there. Dan, let me ask you about the broader picture of Jack Lew. A lot of analysts are saying, and news reports are suggesting, that Mr. Lew, he sailed through the hearing today. He's very likely to be voted in as Treasury Secretary sometime at the end of the month when his vote goes to this full Senate floor. What should we expect from Mr. Lew? He's the former chief of staff for President Obama. He served as White House budget director under both Bill Clinton and President Obama. Given his 3 decades, as he put it, experience in the budget battles in Washington, D.C., where do you think he's going to be steering this particular White House and this administration?
Jack Lew has a reputation for being a fan of big government and class warfare, but he's serving a president that's a fan of big government and class warfare. So I suspect that Lew, who's a very experienced Washington operative, will be an effective advocate of that agenda. Now, do I think that that agenda is going to make much progress with House Republicans? No, I don't. But Lew will be I guess, what's the phrase, a worthy opponent.
Yeah, so let me ask you about that, about his relationship with congressional Republicans. It seems like it's a bit of a mixed picture. Back in 2011, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor, he said that Mr. Lew was very polite. He was in command of the numbers. In fact, quote, more in tune with the numbers. No one was more prepared or more in tune than Jack Lew. But in 2010, Jeff Sessions, the Senate Republican from Alabama, he said that Jack Lew, quote, was part of a campaign of financial deception when it came to describing the president's budget as not adding a single dime of deficit. So how do you anticipate that the Treasury Secretary is going to be able to manage these relationships with House, or rather Hill Republicans?
I suspect the same way we saw when he was at OMB. Of course he's going to be putting, how shall we say, a generous spin on the White House numbers, and they're going to try to pretend that they're making progress, and they're going to use this sort of make-believe Washington baseline budgeting to claim that they're cutting spending when spending's actually going up. So I think both Sessions and Cantor are right. Jack Lew is going to go up there. He's going to say ridiculous things defending big government, but he's going to say those things in a polite way because he's just that kind of guy. So what does it mean for the taxpayers of America? It means that there's zero chance of any entitlement reform. There's zero chance of any kind of pro-growth tax reform. I mean, Lew will get up there. He'll say, oh, we want tax reform, but what he means by tax reform is a tax increase. So at best, we're going to have gridlock for the next 4 years. Now, that's better, by the way, than what we had for Obama's first 2 years when we got Obamacare, the fake stimulus, and all that.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, it seems like your bottom line is that Jack Lew is a political creature. Dan, we appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.